All right, let's before we get into the NFL pick'ems for the week, let's take a look at where we stand in terms of the NFL playoff picture. Currently, we'll start in the NFC. Detroit sitting on top for the time being. You would have the Eagles and the Commanders in the 2-7 matchup, Tampa Bay, Green Bay in the 3-6 matchup, and the Rams and Vikings in the 4-5 matchup. Do you guys see this picture, the teams changing by the time we get to the end of the year? Seattle sitting outside at 8-6, Atlanta, Arizona at 7-7. Dallas teams not officially eliminated. San Francisco, Dallas, New Orleans have not been mathematically eliminated. That's
unbelievable. Dallas took an opportunity for a top draft pick and is still currently not eliminated.
That's why McCarthy sucks.
Unbelievable.
No, it's just this.
Good news, James, is they're playing just well enough in Dallas for Jerry Jones to not spend any money in the offseason.
Nope.
So,
like he was going to anyhow. What do you mean?
Well, he doesn't have any left, so it's fine.
Jim, I'm gonna be honest with you. The picture you see here on both sides here, I know we'll do the AFC next, but the picture on both sides, my opinion, this is it.
All right, so EJ
I'll
says
be the counter.
Changing. Mike,
yeah, you do it.
I'll be the counter here because you don't know what you're getting out of Michael Penix in the NFC South. I think that's wide open. I think that the NFC West is nothing but figured out. I mean, 1 week Sean McVay looks like a genius. The next week they look like they can't run an offensive play to save their life. Seattle and Arizona both sitting within striking distance with 3 weeks left. I look at it
are too in the West.
I mean, that one might be more
dream, but they're
say run the table and everybody else loses out somehow. And I think that's the way that the Niners get in, kind of the same way with Cincinnati. I'll stay on the NFC side, then I'll go to the AFC side. At this point, I truly believe that Atlanta can still win that division. I still think that the Seahawks or the Cardinals can still win the NFC West. I actually think that Seattle finds a way to get in over the Rams. I don't necessarily think that the Rams have figured out pieces of it, but when Seattle's defense can actually stay on the field and be healthy and do what they did against Arizona 2 out of the last 3 weeks and, not have short fields to work against. And I understand Seattle has a big issue. It's the health of Geno Smith and is it Sam Howell at quarterback, but maybe that's something that will help change things. And maybe the offense becomes a little less stagnant in Seattle. Maybe it's Howell with a full week of practice. And that's why I'm saying I'm not locking in these 7 teams. I'm obviously not going to lock in the seeding either, because I do believe that the Philadelphia Eagles will end up with the 1 seed because of the injuries to the Detroit Lions. That being said, I think that the NFC definitely has potential for movement and a lot of it personally.
Here's why I'm confident about Tampa's chances to lock up the South, even though anything can happen. The last 3 games at Dallas, then home games to Carolina and New Orleans.
Yeah,
and they're playing well, and they're playing well on top of that too. Also,
yeah, I think Baker's playing at a high level, and Mikey, I'm with you. With Penix, obviously there's a little bit of a wild card there, and with only with the tiebreaker, I think that there's obviously a chance Atlanta catches them. All they got to do is get one back. So Tampa has a stumbling block game. Maybe that happens. Tampa just steamrolled their stumbling block game. I think that's the least. Like for me, I'm with you on Seattle, but I'm against you on the Rams. I think the Rams, McVay at times it's looked bad off and on, but when the offense looks bad, the defense looks great, and they keep them in the games. And I think on both sides of the ball, the Rams are finally healthy, and when push comes to shove in must-win games, I think McVay plans very well. I think the Rams are going to hold off the West. And even if they don't, I think Seattle could get in, but I think it's because those 2 West teams might eliminate the Commanders. I think the Commanders are in a semi-dangerous spot.
They are.
Because they are only 1 game up on
Correct.
Seattle currently. and their remaining schedule is
You guys this
the
week.
Eagles for one,
Yeah.
and then they get those dangerous Penix Falcons.
Mhm.
So that could be a thing. And then you get the end of the year rivalry game against the Cowboys team that refuses to just settle into the muck. So
A team who beat them a couple weeks ago.
yeah, so
Right.
the Commanders have a very tough road to hold that 7 spot, and I think that might be the ticket in for Seattle. And if not, it would become the ticket in for the Rams. So I think there's a lot of fluidity there. And on the AFC side,
Let's stick to the end. Let's finish out the
NFC. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
let's
fine
stick
with
out
that. All right, cool.
Matt, any thoughts on the NFC field?
I think the wild card teams remain. I don't see the Commanders stumbling too much. I think that Penix probably gives the Falcons a better chance to win, but I still don't think that's a good chance. So I think the wild card teams are what they are, but I think that we could see a big shakeup in the 3 and the 4 spot for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for me, I do think that these are probably going to be the 7. The only one that I think probably really would change would be the NFC West winner. If the Rams stumble, because that division has just been very chaotic. Like teams at times have looked really good, teams at times have looked really bad. A couple weeks ago, the Cardinals looked like they were really figuring things out, and then EJ opened his mouth about them. And we see what's happened since then. So, yeah, Seattle could take it. Again, depending on the health of Geno Smith, no confidence in Sam Howell to lead them to anything. But then, yeah, the Cardinals are still there. Those teams play each other. These NFC West teams play each other. So, I think the really big thing, and this is the last thought on the NFC, is and Mike touched on it. The Detroit Lions, I mean, they were my pick last year, they were my pick this year, but just the mounting number of injuries, I don't see how they're going to hold that 1 seed. Obviously, they're a playoff team; they've already locked that in. The scary thing is they may not even end up as the NFC North champion.
Nope.
Which didn't even seem feasible a couple weeks ago when Minnesota was kind of stumbling a little bit. And Detroit's rattling off 50-point wins, and now all of a sudden, we talked about two road games, and then you host the Vikings week 17, or week 18. So there's part of me that thinks that the Vikings may end up as the NFC North champion, which just did not even seem feasible to start at the start of the year. They have Seattle, Green Bay, and then they're at Detroit. So any thoughts on what happens with the 1 seed or with the Lions or anything?
Well, I mean, obviously injuries are a major concern, obviously, but I don't know if you saw Dan Campbell's press, I don't know, it was a press conference or interview we did. It was.
I don't know, what were the vibes, EJ?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
How are the optics on that interview there, bud?
No, it's positive. He's kept it positive, man. It is what it is.
I mean, Dan Campbell's a hell of a leader.
He really is.
I will put it in stone right now. Whether it's the Eagles or the Vikings, the Detroit Lions will not be the number 1 seed in the NFC. I just don't see it. I think the injuries are too much. I think the defense is a risk, and I think they're much like I feel with the Commanders. I think that their path to hold that off is a little tough, and I don't see them winning out, and I think that's going to cost them. I will recant a bit on my Seattle catching Washington. I just checked. They didn't play each other. Conference record, Seattle has 5 NFC losses. Of their 5 of their 6 are in the NFC. So that's
their path to the playoffs is the
Washington
NFC
only has 3. So you would have to gain 2 in the next 3 games. Now Washington has 1 against Philly, and like we said, the other 2 games aren't gimmies. So if that would happen and you won out, you could pull that off. But it makes my point there a little bit tougher.
So the Lions' closing statement here: at Chicago, at San Francisco, and then of course the big showdown against Minnesota, week 18. And those 2 other games before Minnesota. Look, San Francisco, rough year, we get it, but that's not a gimme. San Fran still, they're gonna fight.
No,
they're gonna
that's
fight.
just it. Detroit's not just holding off Philly for the 1; they're holding off Minnesota for the
Division.
division. So I mean, they could their path with if everything goes completely wrong could wind up as a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, they could go from like the proverbial favorite to do everything and host all these playoff games to traveling everywhere. It could be a real
That
real
said,
derail
though,
here.
Sean, but that said,
I don't think that's going to happen. But
right. That
it
said,
could.
though, Minnesota's closing statement also is tough. They go to Seattle, play Green Bay at home, and then Detroit, of course. So
just-
I mean,
Minnesota's is
You
brutal.
pay attention when I talk.
I missed that.
I mean,
part, sorry.
I think there's a
Literally
realistic.
closed out all of these team schedules.
I think there's a realistic world where Detroit versus Minnesota gets flexed into the Sunday night game, and that's for the
Easy.
division.
It is.
I mean, I think if they both go
Oh, yes,
2-0 and
yeah.
that is for the division, I think it gets flexed into the Sunday night game, week 18.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was there already. I'm sorry.
No. I'm
No,
just
the
saying.
1 o'clock game.
To be determined.
I'm saying I think they flex that if it's for the division.
Oh, hell
But
yeah.
what I will say is, I don't know that Minnesota is going to be able to do their job to get there. As much as the
so.
injuries are the issue that Detroit has on the defensive side of the football, and I know that David Montgomery going down does not help the offensive side of the football. They still find a way to scheme up things that work. I'm not as scared of the San Francisco 49ers, a team that I just watched put up a total of 6 points against the Los Angeles Rams. At the end of the day, I think Detroit will probably be the 1 or the 2. I think the only team that I think can catch them is Philadelphia. I still think they will have home games leading into the NFC title game. But I do believe that the window for Detroit, like, they've got to find a way to beat Chicago this week and then control what they do from there when it comes to the San Francisco game, because at the end of the day, they're going to have to win that game by running the football. Like, they're going to have to grind that game out, exactly what the Rams did.
And they
All right, let's look over on the AFC side. Chiefs 1 seed. Your current 2-7 matchup is Bills Chargers. 3-6 is Steelers Broncos, and 4-5 is Texans and Ravens. In terms of the field of 7, do we see anything changing? You have the Colts. So the Chargers are 8-6. Colts, Dolphins, Bengals 6-8. Those are the only teams mathematically still available. Do you see the field of 7 changing in the AFC?
I don't. So the teams, right? They're in there.
Right, the field of 7.
Yeah, that's not changing at all.
Mike, any?
I mean, I want to say yes, but
besides
I
wanting the Bengals, do you?
I live in a world where the chance of Cincinnati making the playoffs really shot themselves in the foot. The loss against Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago. I've said that on this show. At the end of the day, if there's a team that's going to sneak in, I think it would be Cincinnati. I don't think Miami or the Colts have a fighting chance the rest of the way, especially because Cincinnati has games against Denver and Pittsburgh, 2 playoff teams. So, again, I said that a couple weeks ago whenever they had games against the Chargers, the Steelers twice, and the Broncos. And I said they controlled their own destiny, and they lost a couple games that they needed to win. So yeah, I'm probably going to say that the 7 remain the same.
All right, Matt, field of 7. Any changes?
No, not in my opinion.
Sean?
No, I was trying to see if any of the Bengals, Colts, Dolphins had like a really good AFC record or something that like maybe that 2 games is easier to make up, and they don't.
No.
They've been swept in their own divisions by teams. It's a train wreck for them. So yeah, no, minus some seeds changing. This is your 7 in the AFC.
Yeah, Devin says Dolphins are already eliminated, in my opinion. Yes, I mean, realistically, yes. Mathematically, they're not, Devin. That's the only reason I pointed that out. So now in terms of where the chips fall, of course, the Chiefs at 13-1, Bills at 11-3, really the only real challenger for a potential 1 seed, with the question mark about the health of Patrick Mahomes. They have the Texans on Saturday, and then they're at the Steelers and at the Broncos. But I believe with a win this week, the Chiefs would lock up the 1 seed. But seeding wise, do we see anything really shifting?
Like
I mean,
okay.
the one thing Buffalo has going for it is their schedule. I mean, it's going to take a couple stumble, but I mean, to be honest, the Chiefs are so good. Speaking for Kyle Nash, Ding, I think
That was good.
I think when you look at that defense and Jones and what they've been doing, like if Mahomes couldn't play this week, do I think that Carson Wentz is a talented enough backup that without a lot of film on him recently could just go in and I thought that there was a realm where Carson Wentz steps in and beats the Texans by more than the Chiefs have been beating teams because you don't know what he looks like in that offense. But their schedule obviously much harder. Bills with the Patriots, Jets, Patriots. I mean, that's like. But I don't think the Chiefs are going to stumble. I think they hold. But that schedule
That was easy.
real nice. That was real nice.
Well,
what
Jim,
a way to end.
Jim, you said that Mahomes
Just
is
sit
potentially
Josh
playing,
Allen.
right?
Just sit Josh Allen. You'll be fine.
I mean, he was marked as healthy. He was a full participant.
Well, I think that's why.
Apparently, God healed his high ankle sprain.
Right. But this is why he wants to play. They win this week against Houston, which is obviously a beatable team. Obviously, they clinched the 1 seed. He has 3 weeks to rest.
Well, I mean, he's
Man,
not
would
just
that
going to
tick
sit
off
out
fantasy
3
football
weeks.
players?
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, the rest of the ankle.
Just
Obviously.
sit the rest of the year. Just sorry, guys.
I mean, I don't think he sits out the rest of the
Of
season.
course, let's be
because-
honest. Anybody with Patrick Mahomes probably isn't in the semifinals.
I still don't think they clinch either, right? Like Bills could ultimately win out.
Yeah,
and
actually,
the
they could.
Chiefs could lose those last two.
That's what I'm saying. There's no clinching scenario
Oh, that's right. And
unless it's a win
head-to-head.
and a Buffalo loss. Like
Maybe
Buffalo
it's
has
the-
to lose this week.
that's bad on my
The
mind.
Patriots have been real good. So
Really
more
good
on
at
that
what?
later.
Losing football games?
Wait.
yes,
Sean,
yes, I wasn't clear.
Wait, Sean, are you saying that frisky?
No.
Oh,
No.
God, no. Jesus,
Nobody's
EJ.
fucking saying that.
Sean, relax, Sean.
This show was going places,
And then
and then you
And
showed up.
Then he popped up and said hello.
So I mean, really, like when I'm looking at the field here, I think the only real movement I could potentially see now that granted the Ravens Steelers, like they could
could flip flop. That
they
was
could
gonna be
trade a
one.
spot.
They're going to.
And
What
then
about Chargers Denver? Is that like
well, yeah, they're within a game. So Baltimore's
That's what
9-5, Denver's 9-5, Chargers are 8-6. They play this week. Steelers Ravens play this week. So I think you're going to see movement potentially in the wild card spots. But yeah,
3, 5, 6, 7?
yeah. I think
Four's locked
that's
in. By the way,
four's
Four.
locked in. 1 and 2 mostly locked in. They're penciled in. We'll call it.
I mean, I will go out and tell you that the Baltimore Ravens will end up as the 3 and win the North. I think the Denver Broncos end up as the 5. I think Pittsburgh ends up as the 6, and I think the Chargers are the 7. Because I think Denver beats the Chargers on Thursday night, putting the Chargers basically almost locked into that spot.
Yeah, that would pretty much do it.
So I think that's where I have Denver winning this week. So I have Denver kind of putting themselves in a predicament with a win and then a loss by the Steelers. The Steelers go to 10-4. The Broncos will be 10, or they'll both be 10-5. Denver kind of owns the tiebreaker in that regard, or not, excuse me, Pittsburgh owns the tiebreaker because of conference record, but Denver then plays a Cincinnati team that if they're eliminated from playoff contention, is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase actually going to be out on the field? A Chiefs team that has the number 1 seed in week 18 is Mahomes and those guys really going to be out on the field? So it's one of those things where Denver potentially has a run here where if they can win the first one and Baltimore beat Pittsburgh, that I think that they almost have a doorway to be the 5.
So here's the remaining schedules for Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Denver. We have Pittsburgh goes to Baltimore, then home against the Chiefs and the Bengals. The Ravens obviously host the Steelers, then they go to the Texans and then host the Browns. The Broncos go to the Chargers, to the Bengals, and then host the Chiefs. But again, what will the Chiefs be at that point?
Exactly.
At the end of the year. So yeah, there's definite potential movement with 3, 5, 6, 7, a little less. The Chargers are pretty much in a yes. This is when the words actually matter. EJ must win this week against the Denver Broncos.
I'm worried about Washington on the NFC side. Honestly, I really am. Looking at
We already
schedule.
talked about that.
No, I understand that, but I'm that's the one team of the 14. I'm like I think it's going to hold ultimately, but if it's one team, like I'm
Get
like
your mouth shut.
I'm willing. It's Washington.
He obviously
That's the
doesn't listen
one
to
team.
anything I say either.
Right,
That's
we've already
literally what my whole point was: is that Washington is in danger. That was my
like.
whole
Is it
point.
just like the tone of our voices that you just
I don't know. Maybe he just confuses us,
maybe easily
and he
confused.
just
we
thinks we
say a-
cancel.
we
Maybe
say a
we
lot-
cancel each other out.
Maybe
Probably
Noise
Easily-
canceling nieces. That's what we are.
easily confused.
easily.
God damn. All right. Let's